Okay, let's also keep this in perspective. This ain't like the aircraft carriers going out to save the world. It's not like there's bad guys out there that are trying to do harm to America. These are Palestinians that are tired of 75 years of brutal colonial oppression occupied by, an Israeli government and Israeli people that have said you don't have a right to exist, that we won't accept the Palestinian state. I'm not going to sit here and defend every tactical decision made by anybody. War is hell. Violence is violence. People die. It sucks. And we should condemn any murder of innocent people. But there's very few innocent people in Israel. Very few. And the reason why I say that is that Zionism is an illness. It is the ultimate expression of racial supremacy, of ethnic supremacy, of genocidal endorsement, because Zionism says that because somebody wrote something in the damn Bible thousands of years ago, that suddenly all this land where millions of people live on doesn't belong to them anymore. That God has reached down and touched a select few people. I mean, God, come on. I read the Bible. I'm not the biggest religious guy in the world, but, I think it was, God made the heavens and the earth. So God made it all. He's like God. She's like God. Who knows? He, she, it, what? I don't care. 6 days they made the earth. The seventh day he rested. Okay. God needs to rest too. But when he made the earth, did he really just go, you guys are good, everybody else is bad? It's like when an American president says, God bless America. I always love that statement. God bless. Really? God bless us? Only us? Just us? Because we're exceptional, baby. We're America. We do it better than anybody else. So goddamn the rest of the world. That's what you're saying when you say that. That means that nobody else counts.
Exactly.
Zionism is about only the Jewish people counting in Israel. Not Jewish. I'm not tainting the Jewish faith. I'm saying that if you are a Jew that says that Zionism gives you an inherent right to create an Israel without any consideration of the people who already live there, then you're a racist, you're a supremacist, and America shouldn't be dropping bombs in your defense. We should be bombing you into the Stone Age because you are the evil that resides in the world today. But no, the aircraft carriers that we ran out of money to support, they're there to support the Israelis murdering Palestinians. And this should sicken every American.
Yeah, I have a few things I'll say, and I'll pass it to you, CJ, because there's just a few thoughts, because that was very thought-provoking. He was cooking there. There was a lot to break down. Because you got ahead of me, because I was going to ask you about Zionism. I was actually curious about your thoughts on this, because not only can you make the moral argument against Zionism, obviously you can make the legal argument against Zionism. But even if you take Zionism at face value, where Zionism is a political philosophy which is going to create a homeland that makes Jewish people safe, that has been a failed project. There's nowhere that is least safe for Jewish people than the state of Israel. There is no ideology that made Jewish people more safe than Zionism, because there are people who I disagree with who may make the mistake of equating Jewish people with Zionism, which leads them open to attack because they may be radicalized by the crimes of Israel. So Zionism as an ideology made them unsafe. And also the core premise of having Jewish sovereignty, that's Zionism, a Jewish sovereign state. Israel is not sovereign. Israel is closely tied to the United States and would not be able to accomplish the military operations without the support of the United States, without the AOK of the United States. That means Israel is not sovereign. Zionism is inherently a failed ideology because it cannot exist. Israel cannot exist without the support of the US and UK, meaning you did not give sovereignty to the Jewish people. Correct? I had to add that because you said a lot of things that I was going to ask you about that. Regarding Zionism. One more thing I want to get to, and I'll pass it back to CJ. I love how you mentioned how your critique of the U.S. military, because it's something I mention all the time. I remember when I was a sweet summer child, growing up with propaganda. I believed at a certain point in my life when I was a child that we won every war. That's kind of what they teach you. Like, yeah, the United States military is top notch. We won in Vietnam. They won Korea. They never tell you the truth about this. But what the United States really does, we don't accomplish our military goals. We slaughter civilians. We try to break the will of a population. And if we can't do it by combat, we do it by sanctions and by financial attacks. So the myth that the United States military is this efficient fighting machine, I'm glad that you've been speaking out against. Anything else? Anything you want to add to that, Scott, or I'll pass it back to CJ because I know you have probably a few more questions.
I'll go real quick here. Look, I'm a former Marine. I was a Marine officer, and I love the Marine Corps. I know there's people out there who say there's an inherent amount of hypocrisy in that stance. I was brainwashed. Okay, I joined the Marine Corps, and I bought into it, and I still do. It's some of the finest moments of my life were defined by the Marine Corps. It made me who I am. It gave me the values that I have: duty, honor, country, etc. And the institution I joined was unmatched on the field of battle. And I think the Marine Corps today is a fine fighting force, but war is an extension of politics by other means, meaning that while the Marine Corps may exist to be a combat unit, that in and of itself doesn't legitimize the existence of the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is the United States Marine Corps. That means that it's supposed to be used in defense of America. And we have a weird way of defining what defends America today. For instance, Vietnam had nothing to do with the defense of America. So killing those Vietnamese had nothing to do with it. To be honest, Desert Storm, the war that I fought in, had nothing to do with the defense of America. I remember leading up to the war, I was called into Major General Matt Caulfield's office. He ran the war fighting center, and I was doing some intelligence stuff for them. And he said, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "Sir, we're fighting the wrong Arabs." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "The Iraqis are the good guys in this fight. The Kuwaitis and the Saudis are the bad guys. Let me tell you about slant drilling. Let me tell you about how the Kuwaitis were dumping oil on the market to suppress the price, to raise the price of oil so that, to lower the price of oil so that Iraq couldn't make the money to pay their debt, trying to collapse the Iraqi economy and all that." I mean, we're on the wrong side of history here. And yet we went to war and we killed a whole bunch of Iraqis for that. 9/11. Let's start with Afghanistan. The Taliban had nothing to do with 9/11, nothing to do with it whatsoever. And yet we decided we were going to commit regime change. Not only that, once we took out the Taliban, we said, well, why not go and take out Saddam Hussein, who had literally nothing to do with 9/11. And we lost both of those conflicts because we're not fighting for the right thing. That's the problem. We're asking Americans to join an institution, the military. And I will tell you right now, for all you mothers and fathers out there, if you send your sons and daughters to the military, the kids you send away to the military will be forever changed, and most likely for the worse, because the military breaks you as a human being. If you go to war, it destroys you as a human being. You can hopefully recover from it, come out and adjust, but it ruins the person you sent there. They will not be the same. And I guess there's times when we need that. We need a military to defend ourselves. If we're attacked, we need to defend ourselves. But we're sacrificing these kids for nothing, for nothing. There's nothing out there worth American kids dying for, but not just dying, because there are worse things than death. The murder that is committed in the name of the United States. And it is murder, even though the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines don't consider it murder. And maybe they're operating under the law of war. But the bottom line is when we send our people over there to kill them, when it has nothing to do with what's happening here at home, it's murder. We made a decision to go forth and kill, and there's nobody better at killing people than the United States military. We can do it very, very effectively. It's nothing to be proud of. I'm ashamed of it. I'm ashamed of the fact that we kill so many innocents. I'm ashamed of the fact that we live in a country ostensibly defined by the rule of law as set forth in the Constitution that speaks of individual freedoms, and yet we go kill people out there who have every right to live as much as we do, and we don't give a damn about them. We don't give a damn about them. America, I love my country, and I love the American people, but you disgust me. You disgust me because you are collectively the most ignorant people in the world about the world we live in. How dare you send people off to fight and die in another country if you can't even point that country out on a map and tell me why it's relevant? You don't know why we're going there, and yet you're going to let your kids go there and kill other people's children. And then your kids come home and you find out the reality that nobody cares about your kids. How many people watching the show go to the VA hospital and look at the guys pissing into their bags? Not a dent. You might. But I'm saying there's so many people that don't. They put the yellow sticker on the back of their car, say, we support the troops, and then they abandon them. What about the guys that come back with PTSDs, guys and gals, and they get a drug problem, because they got shot, they were National Guard, but they come back and they put them on Oxy, but then they pull them off Oxy, so they go on heroin, and now we mock them as drug addicts. They're drug addicts. There are people who are willing to take the oath to put their life on the line in your defense. They come home broken, and now you abandon them, and you call them drug addicts, or you call them alcoholics. You call them maladjusted. They used to be just like you, but they were broken going to war to defend you, or at least they thought they were, and you abandoned them. The American people, we suck as a nation. We absolutely suck as a nation because all we believe in is killing people and then dumping on the side of the road those who are broken by that conflict. I apologize for getting angry. But
that was unbelievable.
That was,
After you, CJ.
yeah. Yes.
I will add to what you said. Just really quick, I apologize. I won't get you in here, TJ, because it's what you said was brilliantly put, and it's worse than that as well, because our society created a class system where they recruit kids to fight and die for our war and punish people who don't. If you don't, you gotta go into debt to get educated. Now, so this is how they what's the right word for it? This is how they coerce, not the right term, but coerce Americans to die for us. They say, well, you can fight for us and we can pay for your education, or you not, or you can go in debt for the rest of your life and pay a ridiculous interest rate on your schooling. It's on you. If you want to fight and die for us, we will educate you. What kind of society says that? We will only give education and the opportunity for upward mobility if you're willing to commit war crimes for our regime.